Fox News really kind of imploding here, and it's kind of their own doing. The Murdoch family, you see, is in court in Reno, Nevada, because they're facing off here in this battle for control. Who's going to actually run the company when Rupert Murdoch himself, 93 years old, but, you know, he's still getting married, so he sees a future that maybe some don't. 93 years old, when he goes, who's going to take over the company? Would it be Lachlan Murdoch, or would it be the three other siblings? So you see, there's a lot of powers that be that would like to take over. When you look at this here, the media is picking up on the story. It's the family drama that's playing out in court, and it really could decide the future of Fox News. Now, I know a lot of you have already ditched Fox News. I know a lot of you have pulled the cord, and you're like, you know what? Network TV is not for me. Cable is not for me. And you're over here and you're watching us streaming, and I thank you for that, because I'm live right now. This is a live stream, so careful what you say. And I think that this is most definitely the future. We'll talk about that a little bit, because it matters for this stock price, which has gone literally nowhere in the last 4 years or so. But this is all over the media now. Murdoch family drama playing out in real time here, as the 93-year-old wants his eldest son, Lachlan, to run his empire after he dies. But you see, he's got a few kids hanging around. So he's saying he keeps getting married, you keep having kids. I mean, these guys have to be just having a big sigh of relief that the latest and greatest lady of choice is just like some 2 decades younger. Actually, she's like 67, so she's quite a bit younger. I mean, but you know, she's not having kids, so they don't have to worry about that. But anyway, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Only 4 of them actually have voting rights, though. And what's at issue is that apparently back in 1999, Rupert Murdoch decided his legacy was super important. He wanted to help 4 of his 6 children have something really to, you know, he wanted to give them something. He wanted them to be part of his legacy. So he gave them voting rights in shares of Fox and News Corp. Well, now he doesn't really want them to have those rights anymore. They've gotten really liberal. You know, the kids, right? The kids. You build all this up, and then they just want to squander it. So he's looking over at Lachlan, who you see there, 53-year-old Lachlan Murdoch, and he's like, you know what? I think he can do it. I think he can do it better than James, who's 51, or Elizabeth, who's 56, or Prudence. That was the daughter from his very first marriage. Then he had the other 3 from the second marriage, and then another 2 from the third marriage. It keeps going. And then there was the 4th marriage to Jerry Hall. And then there was nearly a 5th marriage, which did eventually become a 5th marriage because he was really serious with someone. And then he wound up marrying this woman who's like the ex-wife of a Russian billionaire. Anyway, we'll leave that aside. You know what? You do you, we do me. We're all fine, right? We're all fine. We don't judge, shall we say, except when it comes to the future of the media company itself, when it comes to the future of the company's stock price. Now, again, I'm looking at this thing, and it traded up today, up about 2.25%. I'm looking at Fox Corp shares A shares. So this would be what the family sort of mainly holds. You can also take a look at Fox, which has the B shares trading as well. But let's go back to A for a moment, or B. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is a stock that's gone nowhere in years. All right, so that's like dead money, which is never good, right? You don't ever want to invest in something, say in 2021, only to have it be worth less than it was in 2021. And that's exactly what I'm looking at here on this chart, a chart actually by the Wall Street Journal. So owned by him, owned by Fox and News Corp, of course. So anyway, this is a big deal. They've got this battle that's brewing over this irrevocable trust. So these are big money family issues, right? They have a trust set up, and 4 of the kids are supposed to have these voting rights. But what do you do when you only got one that's a conservative, and you think the answer for the business is to stay conservative, and the other 3 say, no, we want to go more liberal? I mean, I know you all are like, but wait a second, didn't they go liberal? To which I would say, yeah, I kind of think they did. I think that was definitely at play. But it may not have just been as simple as going liberal. Think about it this way. Fox wants to succeed as an entity, right? It's a business. It has to succeed as an entity. it also wants a certain amount of power. And typically, it's been able to wield all kinds of power within the GOP. Rupert was effectively the kingmaker, right? If you wanted to win the presidency, you were going to have to kiss up to him. Well, along came a guy who didn't actually play by the rules in the same way, and actually won anyway, and won the nomination again anyway. And Fox, actually, perhaps as a result of trying to become more anti-Trump, they wanted to hedge their bets. They'd love to have seen like maybe DeSantis or Nikki Haley or anybody besides Trump in there as the Republican nominee. And in doing so, they alienated a lot of their audience to the point where there was this funny moment when Bret Baier, one of their main anchors back in June of 2023, was talking to Donald Trump about, hey, you don't really appeal to everyone. And, well, he got an earful right to his face.
That you believe that they're political witch hunts?
Of course.
But what do you say to the voter who really liked many of your policies?
They still do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name-calling or the vitriol. What do you say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss?
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points and more. Right now, I have the best polls I've ever had. People see this stuff for what it is. It's a political witch hunt. It's a continuation.
More independent voters watch Fox News than any other TV source.
A lot less than used to watch it.
They do watch. Those voters
they
usually make up all the difference in the election.
Okay.
So
he's like, yeah, no. I don't know what you're looking at, Brett, but a lot less sort of middle-of-the-road voters are watching you. That was kind of a hit on their ratings overall at the time. I believe Tucker had recently left, and they were taking a bit of a hit in the ratings. Look, this company has a lot of problems, a lot of structural problems that aren't, frankly, not to pick on them, right? It's not like it's unique to Fox. Disney's dealing with the same thing. All of the networks are dealing with the same thing because we're right over here, right? Like this is where the party is. And so if everything is changing so fast, and if content creators have a way to go direct to you, the viewer, then guess what? No one needs the networks anymore. It's a totally fractionalized media universe and content creation universe. And I find it exciting. I mean, obviously, as a content creator, right? I don't have to go and work for a network. I don't have to go to a Fox News. I don't have to go to a CNN. I didn't ever work for CNN, but CNBC or, any of these other big entities. I'm able to do this direct with you. And so that's one of the challenges, we can discuss it some more, that Fox News is facing. That's just the reality of the landscape. It's the reality of the business right now. So, would I invest in Fox? No. Would I invest in any network? Not to pick on them, right, exclusively, in fairness, and I have a lot of insight into them, having worked there, which I can share with you, but I think that the whole kit and caboodle is basically ruined. There is no opportunity in network space anymore. And we've proved that. Heck, I often get, of course, I was at Fox Business, which was like the redheaded stepchild compared to Fox News, but I'm telling you, I'm getting more viewers over here. You're tuning into these live shows. I think we had more than Kamala Harris the other night, right? She got like 300,000 live on YouTube. We've been able to do that. So in other words, you're finding content, you're seeking out. The power has been put into the hand of the consumer. You don't need the big networks anymore. It doesn't change the fact that when you get back to the situation there within the family, well, Rupert is kind of nervous about 3 of his 4 children. And he thinks that they don't have the business sensibility or the sort of conservative acumen, if you would, to be able to take this company forward. They would argue that they need to do something different. Well, I'll tell you this. You know what? They need to do something different, but I don't think it has anything to do with politics. I think it has everything to do with actually really doing something different. In other words, reinventing, rethinking the business. And I'm not talking MySpace. Yeah, Fox actually bought MySpace. Do you remember MySpace? If you're older, you might. For the kids, not so much. But that was Facebook before there was Facebook. And Fox bought it, and maybe, you could argue the instincts were there. They just didn't have the right business, shall we say. So, they got to adapt. But it's hard to adapt when you've got a cash cow that's actually still printing money. In fairness, you know what? The company makes a lot of money. And it will continue to do so until its business goes full on bye-bye. And it could happen. I want to share with you Donald Trump just the other day on Fox and Friends, kind of dissing a couple of the anchors as being sort of maybe more of the James rather than the Lachlan camp. Here he is on Fox and Friends.
Mr. President, I know when we started the interview, you said that you felt that you won the debate last night, your best ever. I think before the debate happened last night, the Kamala Harris people said that they would actually like to do another debate in October. And I know that last night Fox News sent letters to your campaign and her campaign offering 3 dates of debates moderated by Martha and Brett. One is October 9th in Arizona.
Well, I wouldn't want to have Martha and Brett. I'd love to have somebody else other than Martha and Brett. I'd love to have, frankly, Sean or Jesse or Laura, somebody else. Let's give other people a shot. But I didn't think Martha and Brett were.
Ooh, okay. It's always tough when you're on a network's air and you start dissing the talent of that network and the other talent's like, whoa, 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 and the producers are like, whoa, whoa, what is he doing? What is he doing? He's dissing us on our own air. So again, I go back to the power play issue that's going on here. In other words, you've got Donald Trump, who's figured out pretty well that he can go direct to the people. So he doesn't actually need the networks anymore. He doesn't need to kiss up to Rupert Murdoch. He can actually just go and hold a rally and get people really excited. He can just go on to YouTube or go on to Twitter or any other platform, Truth, his own platform, Truth Social, and get the word out. And that, my friends, that is key. So, okay, they're fighting. They've got this little family squabble. I mean, it's sort of strange, right? Because apparently the brothers, they haven't talked to each other in like a long time. I mean, I think the royals actually talk more than, Meghan Markle's husband, they're Harry, and, he talks to Kate's husband, Prince William, more than these guys talk to each other. So that's pretty bad. Like, what's going on, buddy? Like, you create this big company, but your kids are so messed up that they're so greedy and they're so fighting for power and they're so fighting for money that they can't even actually have any kind of relationship together. What kind of family is that? I mean, think about it, guys. Trump is breaking up this family, the Murdoch family. It's all over Trump. Remember we were talking about how people couldn't have Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner because somehow families were getting so mad and husbands and wives were breaking up over Trump and families were being torn apart. Well, what do you know? The Murdoch family is not immune. They too are getting broken up by Donald Trump. And I'm just saying, come on, get over it. Work it out. I realize it's a lot of money, but you know what? Money's not everything. It's some $15 billion. Oh, more than that, because that's in pounds. So you got to do the translation. That's in pounds. This is a British article I'm reading about succession there. This is in The Guardian, and they're talking about it being worth some 15 billion pounds. So they got a lot of money that's at stake here, and they've got to somehow figure it all out. Now, one person is quoted as saying that perhaps Lachlan and Rupert would buy out the other members of the family. Maybe then they'll talk to each other. What do you think? I don't know. It's kind of pathetic. I mean, the whole thing is pretty darn pathetic. Anyway, not our problem, right? Which is a good thing. But people perhaps at the company are a little worried because there's a lot of conservatives and there's a lot of liberals inside that building there on 6th Avenue. And so they're sort of trying to figure out which way the wind is blowing. And to that I say, good luck. I think the wind blows whatever way they figure out they can have the most power and the most money. I think the kids, maybe they don't care about money, but yet they're in court demanding their billions. So, they might care more than you think. Here's an interesting point that The Guardian makes, and it's wrong. So The Guardian is another print publication. The Guardian is trying to say that, it's such a big deal, this Fox thing. Like Fox is like the kingmaker, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think so, because look at Donald Trump, right? So that defutes that point. The other thing that they say is, oh, you know, Tucker Carlson was the big deal and now he's exiled. That's the quote they use. Now exiled from the station where he rose to power. So this guy, this author from The Guardian, doesn't even have the proper terminology, because it's not called a station. Thank you very much, right? Like station is what you have down the street. That's your local TV station. But you're talking about a network, a very, very different thing. So the network itself would be what he's exiled from, if you want to call it that. And they're trying to say, oh, he's withered outside it and been largely unable to recreate the influence that he had while broadcasting to Fox viewers. Well, you know, Guardian publication, I suspect that was a little self-serving. Perhaps you're saying that because you're trying to think that your newspaper still matters. And it doesn't, okay? Like, I just gave you some airtime. That was generous of me. You rarely get any airtime. As for Tucker, well, you see, Fox News did a debate, did it not? When it was trying to help those candidates, those Republican candidates actually get to the finish line and beat Donald Trump. So it had that Republican debate that Trump didn't participate in. But Trump decided to go over to new media and sit down with Tucker Carlson. And lo and behold, guess who won that one? 3 guesses, all right? And we're talking by a lot. I mean, he got like some 70 million viewers versus Fox News getting some, I'm going to be generous and call it 20 million viewers. And by the next day, Tucker Carlson and Donald Trump had gotten some 150 million views on Twitter. It was incredible. Of course, it was also rather striking, the conversation that Tucker had with Donald Trump about the attempt that might be taken on Trump's life. Now, remember, this was a while back. We've now had 2 attempts. Here we go.
Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick.
So, unfortunately, there have been some really sick people that have tried to do some really, really heinous, horrible things. So, Fox News is going to be in court. We can watch the succession drama play out. But I don't think any of us really care. Because the truth is, we've all migrated someplace else. I literally, myself, pulled the cord. We had like 6 cable boxes and I just pulled it on everything. We don't need it. What we need is content, real content, authentic content. We need truth. And that's what you're going to get right here. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, make sure you tell everyone.